A story was just publicized this week from the people that lived this miracle for the last several decades, where there was a guy, a Jew from the kibbutz. Him, his wife, and his daughter did not keep anything, unfortunately, like many of the people in the kibbutz. And one day, the awful disease arrived at his doorstep, and it hit him like malach hamavet. In a very short period of time, he was not only bedridden, but he was on his deathbed, in the hospital, all types of monitors and tubes, and he was dying. The wife is crying, the daughter is crying, and then the doctor comes and says to them, today is going to be the last day that your husband is going to be in this world. Say your goodbyes. This is where he was on his last day. The doctors have given up all hope. There was nothing else that could be done. The organs were failing, and that's it. The wife is crying. The daughter is crying. They're hysterical beyond comprehension. And at the same time, a religious Jew passes by them and sees, what's wrong? What do you mean, what's wrong? My husband is going to die today. He says, why don't you go to the tzaddik, the Baba Sali? Ask him for a blessing. He can help you. Baba who? What are you talking about? No, my husband's going to die. He says, no, the Baba Sali. I don't know who Baba Sali is. They don't teach us Baba Sali in the kibbutz. He says, the Baba Sali is a tzaddik. He can help you. No, I don't believe in those things. We don't believe in such things. Somebody told us to keep Shabbat. And we've been keeping Shabbat. We don't do anything. We're just in the hospital, but nothing changed. He says, go to the Baba Sali. He can help you. Initially, they refused, and then this Jew did them a biggest chesed of their life. He says, you know what? I'm going to take you. But he's going to die today. He says, listen, whether he dies or he doesn't die today, there's nothing you can do about it anyway. You're not stopping the death by being here. Let's just go to the Baba Sali and see what he can do. He takes them to Netivot. When they get to Netivot, they get to the Baba Sali's house, they see a line out the door. The woman is crying. She knows this is going to be forever. The Gabbai sees them. He says, hey, lady, you have to put clothes on. The women were obnoxiously immodest. Literally. Just something like maybe a paper towel was like describing her clothes. She says, lady, you have to put clothes on. No clothes. What clothes? I want to talk to the rabbi. My husband is dying. He says, okay, you can talk, but you have to wait like everybody else. But rabbi can't see you like this. You have to put clothes on, lady. And she's screaming and yelling. No, what clothes? What is this? Are you going to help me or not? The Baba Sali in his Kedusha heard this screaming. He called over his Gabbai. He says, Shuada, what is that? What's happening over there? He says, Kvod Harav, there's this woman and her daughter screaming and yelling. They want to get a blessing from the rabbi, but they're not tzanua. They're not mothers. Bechlal, rabbi, they can't come in here. He says, okay, you turn me around so I can look at the wall. I can't see them. And you bring them in. So that's what the Gabbai did. He turned the rabbi around. The rabbi was looking at the wall. So he can't see these not modest women. And the women come in. And they start crying and they start telling them how the husband is dying and that today's his last day. And the Baba Sali says to them, You want him to live? Yeah, of course, Rabbi. If you go and you take on, you and your daughter, 100% tzniut, 100% modesty, right now, I promise you that your husband will not only live, he will walk out of the hospital today perfectly healthy. This is just a promise. Can anybody even imagine such a promise? The doctors are saying he's going to die any minute. The rabbi is saying he's going to walk out of the hospital perfectly healthy. Why? Put some clothes on. The woman says, no, but Rabbi, but is there something? We keep Shabbat. We started keeping Shabbat and nothing is happening. He said, no. If you do what I say, you take on 100% modesty, we have a deal. You and your daughter, no modesty, no deal. Agree or no? We don't have much time. She says, okay, fine, we'll do it. Okay. Go to the market now. You and your daughter, go buy modest clothes and come back here. Mitpachat for your head, cover head to toe. Only thing you can see is your face, your hands. That's it. Covered. None of these tight dresses, none of this. Modest. Now, we don't have much time. The woman and her daughter and their friend took them over there right to the market. They went to the shuk over there, they bought some clothes, they came back. Fully dressed. Woman from the kibbutz covering her hair. Like a tzadikah, like Sarah Imenu. The daughter is covered like she's been going to Bet Yaakov seminary her whole life. They're both covered head to toe. They're both tzadikot, kdoshot. You couldn't tell that just an hour ago they were from the kibbutz, walking around like HaShem just created them as babies. Now the Baba Sali says, now I want you to go straight to the hospital. Your husband is waiting for you there. The woman, her daughter, and the same Jewish driver speeding back to the hospital. They're not waiting. They're not taking their time. They're going there as fast as possible. Of course, it took some time, but they got there. As soon as they get to the hospital, Pele Plaut, miracle of miracles, wonder of wonders. She sees her husband, the daughter sees her father sitting on the bed, perfectly healthy, talking to the doctors, and the doctors are all wondering what just happened here. This guy is disconnected from the tubes. He's completely healthy. He's smiling. Initially, the husband couldn't recognize these two women until he realized it's his wife and daughter. He started yelling at them. What are you doing? What is this? I wake up and this is what you wear. You're a shmata? You look like some old lady? Get these clothes off of you. And the woman says, no. No. And she starts crying. Baruch mechaya metim, blessed is the one that resurrects the dead. He says, take it off. Take off this clothes. No, we're going home. She goes, I'm not taking it off. I'm going to stay like this. She goes, why? Why are you doing this? He says, the Baba Sali, the tzaddik told me I have to do this. He goes, who? Baba Sali. He goes, no, we don't follow those things, those fanatics. She says, now we do. He says, no, I'm going to go talk to him. She says, okay. Let's go now. Okay. They all go. The husband leaves the hospital. The wife, the daughter, the same driver. That Jewish guy had a ride of his life that day. Who doesn't want to miss that? I want to be on that ride. Even though this happened 40 years ago. They're all back in the car. Back to Netivot. Zzz. The Baba Sali is waiting for them. Apparently, he knew they're coming. As soon as they come in, skipping all the lines, go straight to the rabbi. This time the rabbi doesn't have to look at the wall. But the husband comes in and says, listen, Rabbi, listen, I respect you, thank you very much, but this is not for us. This is not for us. We're from the kibbutz. We didn't grow up this way. We don't keep things. If we go back to the kibbutz, my wife and daughter look like this, people are going to make fun of us. They're going to make fun of us. This is a problem for me. No. You have to cancel. Cancel the deal. Cancel. The Baba Sali says to him, dear Jew, Yehudi Yakar, there's no such thing as me canceling the deal. But you can. You can cancel the deal if you want. But before you decide whether to cancel it or not, why don't you ask your wife what she dreamt about on the way from here to the hospital after she wore the modest clothes. She drove from here to the hospital. It took a while to get there. She fell asleep in the car while the driver was driving. Ask her, what did she dream about? As soon as the wife heard this, she started shaking. Shaking, and tears are falling down her cheeks. The husband says, what happened? How do you know the dream? What did you dream? What is this dream? She says to him, the rabbi knows, because he was there in the dream. What dream? I fell asleep in the car, and I was brought up to the Bet Din of Shamayim, the Jewish court of heaven, and they were deciding on your life. And they said, this man is a rasha, wicked, he violates Shabbat, doesn't keep mitzvot. His wife and daughter walk around not modest. No tarat mishpacha. Death penalty. And I was crying. I said, please help me. And then all of a sudden, the Baba Sali came. And he said, honorable rabbis, I'm here for this case, and I request that we bring this case to the Bet Din of Shlomo HaMelech. The Baba Sali shows up to the Bet Din of Shamayim. They listen. Say, no problem, Kvod Harav. Let us show you the way to the Bet Din of Shlomo HaMelech. They bring him to the Bet Din of Shlomo HaMelech. And the Baba Sali says to Shlomo HaMelech, you said and wrote with Ruach HaKodesh in your book of Mishle, Proverbs, in chapter 31, verse 25. You said that Oz ve'adar, that the greatest treasure for a woman is her modesty. V'titzchak b'yom acharon. And if she has this oz ve'adar, she has this modesty, then she will laugh on the last day. What is this last day that she's going to laugh on? She's going to laugh that the doctors, those heretic doctors that said, today is your husband's last day. How could it be the last day if this righteous woman is now modest and her daughter is now modest? How could it be that this is the last day? She will laugh that they said it's the last day, because it's not the last day. Shlomo HaMelech says, I accept your chidush, and I judge this man lechaim, to life. And at that moment, you came back to life. Now you decide if you want to live the woman that's your wife, the woman that's your daughter, have to continue being oz ve'adar, has to continue being modest, because that's the blessing. But if you don't want it, no problem, no modesty. And instead of her laughing that the doctor says it's the last day, and it's not, she'll be crying because it does become the last day. You choose. The man chose wisely, and his wife became a Rebbitzin that was as stringent as can be when it came to modesty, because she knew that if she even slowed down on modesty a little bit, if the elbow all of a sudden she started showing, if all of a sudden instead of a mitpachat it became some wig longer than the exile, instead of being attractive to her husband, she started becoming attracting to the people in the streets. Her husband's life was on the line. She became one to help other women do tshuva, to understand what judgment is, but to also understand the mercy that's available for those that choose wisely. She sacrificed the kumas. She sacrificed Rabotai Karim de Machoch. She sacrificed the mirror. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu used it to build the Kiruv. HaKadosh Baruch Hu used it to build his house and her home. And he could do the same thing with yours. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice for HaShem?